This is a fight for the Oklahoma Cruiserweight Championship. Darren Humphrey, let's take a look at the tail of the tape.
Well, I think we've got some pretty distinct differences here between the age and the style of the fighters. We've got Ivins coming in with 41, Smith coming in at 21. Obviously, there's a 20-year difference in age there. Smith is the taller, rangier, longer fighter. However, they both weigh about the same, so we're looking forward to a great fight.
The disparity being inexperience. Rob Ivins, much more experienced than Braden Smith. We'll see how that shakes out in our main event. Welcome to the Pink Parrot Rumble at Remington, brought to you by Sailor Jerry's. This is our main event of the evening, the vacant Cruiserweight title on the line. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Andrew Spino. Joining us ringside, former Oklahoma heavyweight champion Darren Humphrey. Darren, we talked about this bout at the beginning of this broadcast as being a matchup of styles. Tell us how you have it broken down.
Well, that's a good question. I would expect, Smith would keep Ivins on the outside. We know Ivins is going to bring the fight to Smith. It's kind of like it's been all night. We've had styles make fights, and we've kind of had that every fight tonight. I feel like probably this fight's going to go the distance, but I'm not sure how it's going to work out yet.
Well, Braden Smith undefeated in the ring, 2-0 with one knockout. At the same time, he comes in with a record of 8-2 as an MMA fighter. And Rob Ivins, 6 bouts, all of them in Oklahoma, comes in with a record of 4-2, 2 KOs. This will be an interesting title fight. Let's send it up to Gerald Whalen.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome here to your main event of the evening. Proudly brought to you by Pink Parrot. 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the Cruiserweight division. And this is for the vacant Oklahoma Cruiserweight title. With those in attendance and those joining us at home via telecast, it's fight night! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at an official 192 pounds. His professional record stands a perfect 1, 2 wins with no defeats. 1 win coming by way of knockout from Choctaw, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Braden H.P. Smith. And his opponent from across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in at an official 194 pounds. His professional record stands at 4 wins with 2 defeats. 3 wins coming by way of knockout from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Ivins. We go to Gary Ritter for your instructions.
Okay, gentlemen, this is a 6-round championship fight. Conduct yourself as champions. You received your instructions earlier. Give us a spirited, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands. Touch your gloves. Go at the bell.
This is our main event of the evening, the vacant Oklahoma Cruiserweight title on the line. Rob Ivins in the blue and gold trunks, Braden Smith in the red with white trim. Here we go, round number 1, Darren Humphrey. Rob Ivins dropped quite a bit of weight to come down to Cruiserweight. How might that affect him?
Well, it could go one of 2 ways. He's obviously come down from being a big heavyweight. He still looks strong. It might affect him in a positive way. He looks like he's maybe ready to go 6 rounds to me.
Braden Smith, a very lateral fighter, while Ivins really loads up on every single shot. The longer this fight goes, is it better for Braden Smith?
Well, that's a good question. Ivins has, more fights as far as boxing goes, so, I think maybe he's going to be a little more comfortable going into the later rounds. Both guys look like they're in great shape. Smith, obviously, he's ripped up, but as we just talked about, Ivins come down from being a heavyweight, so he looks ready as well.
And Ivins, absolutely built like a fire plug. Just, you could not design a fighter better to bore in, throw his face right in the chest, and throw hard shots to the body.
And he looks the part.
He does, but he's having trouble working his way on the inside.
Yeah.
Talk about the age disparity between these fighters.
Well, there is a big age disparity, but you know, it obviously plays in Smith's favor, but Rob Ivins looks like he's ready to go, so I'm not too sure how much that will play into it. As far as age in the ring, there's not too big of a difference, so I don't think it'll play a part in this fight.
Braden Smith, just 21 years old. Rob Ivins, 41 years old. But Rob Ivins fighting like a young man as he bores in and throws heavy hooks down and up on Braden Smith. The crowd may have reacted more than those punches mattered, as Braden Smith really seems to be very effective at long range, throwing the left hand and then a very quick and very accurate right hand.
Yeah, that's a good point. He landed two really good right hands over the top of Rob Ivins' ear, and you know, to me it looked like it had an effect. It maybe gained a little bit of respect from Rob.
And Braden Smith's a very deceptive fighter. He looks like he's going to be throwing a wide right hand, but then rifles it in straight. But now Rob Ivins is really working on Smith as he has him trapped in the neutral corner and working those hooks to the midsection of Braden Smith.
Stop, break, step back, step
Yeah,
back.
but with the strength difference, or the what looks like a strength difference, I don't know if it really is. Ivins is, you know, kind of leaning on Smith pretty much this whole fight, so that might have an effect on Smith later in the fight.
This is the end of round number one. Round number two coming up. Here we go, round number two. The Pink Parrot Rumble at Remington in Oklahoma City. This is the fight for the vacant Cruiserweight Oklahoma title. Rob Ivins in the gold and blue trunks, Braden Smith in the red and white. Darren Humphrey joining us ringside. Champ, how did you score round one?
Well, it was a tough round to score. The key word there was aggression. However, I think Smith had the more effective aggression during that round, so I would give that first round to Smith.
And while Rob Ivins is pressing the action, Braden Smith, at least in round one, landed the much more effective punches. But I'll give this much to Rob Ivins. He brings a heck of a fan base with him to Remington Park.
He sure does, and that's going to play into this fight. You know, whenever he starts thinking he's tired or it's getting later in the fight, these fans are going to lift him right back up.
Braden Smith is very effective with that jab. When he throws the right hand, he brings it back up. He brings it back up.
Good right hand by Ivins there. And
Very
of course,
nice.
Smith shakes it off, but we all know that means it was a good punch.
I'd give that exchange to Ivins. Over in the blue corner. Smith, when he throws that right hand, if you'll notice, he flinches his glove up, back into position, but then drops it immediately.
Yes.
How vulnerable does that make him?
Well, very vulnerable if Ivins is paying attention to that. Ivins needs to time that and then throw basically what I would call a counter punch as soon as Smith starts doing that.
Yeah, basically a delayed left hook to capitalize at the point at which Smith drops his right hand. There he goes again. He throws a very effective and very accurate right hand, but when he misses, he pulls back and then drops it.
Yes.
I wonder, we've seen Rob Ivins fight a few times. He's generally, being an older guy, a pretty smart fighter. Do you think he'll catch on to that?
Yeah, I think he might, especially as the rounds go on. You know, with good counter right uppercut there by Ivins. That was a good hard punch. Probably the best punch I think he's landed all fight.
And I'll give Rob Ivins this much. He's one of the scariest fighters I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is. He looks the part, and he's playing the part right now.
He does, and he throws his punches really well.
Punch out, your hands are free.
Even
Punch
when
out.
he's not in the best position, he manages to get maximum leverage on that right hand to the body.
Yeah, and that's because he's throwing it with everything he's got. hopefully that doesn't slow him down later in the round.
We are at the end of round 2 of this 6-round Cruiserweight title fight. Round 3.
Good hooks there by Ivins.
Coming up. This is the main event of the Pink Parrot Rumble at Remington, brought to you by Sailor Jerry. Cruiserweight title fight. Rob Ivins in the gold and blue trunks. Braden Smith in the red and white. Darren Humphrey, how do you have it scored so far?
Well, I have it even at this point. I think Smith won the first round, but I think Ivins came back and won that second round due to, I felt like he had the harder punches, and I think he really stole that round in the last minute or so. He landed the harder, cleaner punches. I
think he did steal the round, and you'll notice in that last exchange, Ivins landed a heavy right hand that Braden Smith shook his hand, no, as if it didn't hurt.
Right. Well, and you talked about in that last round about Smith, shaking his hands after the punch. And I think Rob is starting to catch on to that now. And I think all that hand movement that Smith is doing, when he starts to move back, that's when Ivins is bringing the punches back at him. And they're landing. They're being effective.
Now, Darren, it's been a few years since I've been 41, but if I remember correctly, you get tired pretty easily. The longer this fight goes, and we're in the middle of round 3, does Rob Ivins stand a serious chance of running out of gas?
Well, I'm a little older than 41 myself, so I understand what you're saying. But Rob Ivins looks like he keeps himself in shape, takes care of himself, and this isn't his first fight, so, we'll see. That's why we're here. We got 6 long, hard rounds, so, we're going to see. It's whoever is going to want it most at this point. Because to me, it doesn't look like either one of them is going to knock the other one out.
Ivins, for his age and his build, is surprisingly quick and crafty on the inside.
Yeah.
He manages to land shots when Smith does not see them coming.
Yeah, and Ivins is doing a good job. He's kind of creeping in a little bit at a time as Smith is going back with his hands down, mind you. And then, like Rob just did, Ivins just did, he landed an overhand right.
I'll tell you this much, that Braden Smith is a tough kid.
Yeah,
he's taking some hard shots, and he's a really good boxer. He lands very effective punches and working from the outside. This fight,
good left hook there by Smith.
It is.
Great left uppercut, too.
That was a good left uppercut by Braden Smith, and Rob Ivins, I don't think, saw coming. He didn't quite have the force on it to knock Ivins back.
Oh, good right hand there by Ivins.
Stop, break.
A very even fight up to this round.
It is, and I think Smith obviously has the skills. My advice to him would be to not necessarily go back, but circle your opponent, get him off balance and throw, maybe a lead left hook, maybe double up the hook to his body and then his head. He's taking away his height advantage by going straight back.
We are at the end of round 3 as Braden Smith lands a hard right hand and another one.
Yep, that was a good round.
We'll be right back. We are halfway through the vacant Cruiserweight Oklahoma title. Welcome to the Pink Parrot Rumble at Remington, brought to you by Sailor Jerry. Rob Ivan in the gold and blue trunks, Braden Smith in the red and white. Darren Humphrey, former heavyweight champion of Oklahoma, joining us ringside. How do you have the fight scored so far?
At this point, I have it 2-1 Smith. I feel like he's, the better boxer at this point. Ivins is bringing the fight to Smith, but I think that, that height and reach advantage is playing a big part.
Smith might be ahead, but who do you think has the momentum in the fight at this point?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, the fans are behind Ivins. But, and that, like I said earlier, that's going to play a big part as the fight goes on. And I bet you in Ivins' mind, he's winning the fight. I think he looks like that. And he's landing some good, hard punches.
He is definitely landing the harder punches, if not the more finessed punches that Braden Smith is landing.
Yeah.
But Rob Ivins really has a look of confidence on his face, despite what looks like a very small cut right above his left eye.
Yeah, and Ivins threw a great left hook to Smith's body, and another combination to Smith's head.
Does Ivins think at this point that if he just catches Smith with one of those shots flush, the fight's over?
Yeah, I think he thinks that, and I think his whole fan base thinks the same thing. You know, something I can say about Ivins that I really appreciate, especially being the Smith is the longer fighter, and Ivins is doing something I haven't seen all night, and he's parrying that jab of Smith.
He is here in round 4. Strange as it seems, Rob Ivins is actually out-jabbing Braden Smith.
Yeah.
Now, can he use it to set up the heavy shots that he needs to end this fight? Because I think if he tries to do that as an overall strategy, he's going to lose, because I think Smith will pick him apart from the outside.
Right.
But he throws heavy shots like that right hand, and it's really a matter of time.
Sure.
Will the sand run out of the hourglass before Ivins lands one of those heavy knockout shots?
Yeah, and I think Braden landed a good counter right hand, right hook, kind of a right hook, right hand punch there. I think it hurt Ivins. Ivins took 2 steps back, circled around, and now he's just kind of standing in front of Smith.
And there was what looked to be a cut starting above the left eye of Rob Ivins. And if there's not a cut, which I can't quite see from this angle, there's definitely a bad mouse forming underneath his left eye. They're going toe-to-toe here at the end of round 4. Round 5 coming up. Here we go, round 5 of 6 rounds for the interim, or rather the vacant, Cruiserweight Oklahoma title. Rob Ivins versus Braden Smith. Braden Smith, very tall, very rangy, working his left jab and landing nice combinations from the outside. Rob Ivins boring in and landing heavy hooks every time he can get underneath Smith's jab. Darren Humphreys, how do you have the fight scored so far?
Well, I think I would give that last round to Smith. I feel like he's, doing a little better job keeping Ivins on the outside. I feel like, I didn't want to say it earlier, but I think maybe Ivins' age is maybe getting to him a little bit now. I think the youth in Smith is coming out. I feel like he's just doing a little bit better job. He's a little more active.
He is, and a lot more precise. That's not to say that Rob Ivins is out of this fight by any means.
No, not at all. Right.
I think he has the power and he has the determination to land the big shots that could put Smith away. It's just a question of whether he can work his way inside to actually land them.
Yeah, and I think Ivins is more in a counterpuncher role at this point. Earlier he was coming forward. Now he's kind of letting Smith bring the fight to him and trying to counter. And I'm not too sure that's going to be the best thing.
And it also seems Rob Ivins is not setting up his power punches like he was in the earlier rounds. He's swinging for the fences from the outside, which, against a guy who has a 4-inch height advantage on you is not going to be effective unless you're basically stepping on his toe.
And to me, that shows a little bit of desperation with Ivins. Winging those punches from nowhere, hoping to land the big shot instead of trusting in his boxing skills and, implementing his game plan.
And Braden Smith, laser sharp with those punches from the outside, landing upstairs and down with 1-2 combinations in that right hand.
Yeah, and Smith looks really good right now. He's going to the body and then back to the head. He's using that jab like he should. And, hey, I've said it many times, everybody's strong at first. It's who can last. And it looks to me like Smith is, at this point, outlasting Ivins.
And although 6 rounds is half the length of a world title fight, that's still 18 minutes in the ring, which is awfully tough for anyone, much less a 41-year-old guy who just ate a right hand like Rob Ivins did.
Yeah.
Rob Ivins shakes his head as we come to the end of round 5. He feels confident as we are getting ready to go into the 6th and final round of this Cruiserweight title fight. Darren Humphrey, I would
Last
have
round.
to give that round to Braden Smith, and I have him ahead in the fight. You?
Yeah, I agree. I think Smith is ahead right now. He's kind of made it clear over the last couple rounds. I don't think there's any question at this point.
Braden Smith, although he has not necessarily been dictating the pace of the fight, has really been landing the not harder, but more accurate, consistent, and certainly punch volume. He has Rob Ivins beaten at this point. Is there a way for Rob Ivins to win without a knockout?
I don't think so, not at this point. A knockout would certainly, that changes everything, obviously.
Do you think his corner is telling him you have to knock him out to win?
When the bell rings,
I hope so. If they're being honest with their fighter, they are.
This is the sixth and final round of the Cruiserweight title main event at Remington Park in Oklahoma City. Brought to you tonight by Sailor Jerry. And these two have been really giving it their all in the ring tonight. Rob Ivins.
And Rob is being a little more aggressive here. He landed a clean left hook a few
punch out,
seconds
your hands
ago.
are free.
And those repetitive rights to the body in the clinch tell you that he is determined to come in to finish Smith, because I'm guessing
Left hook to the body there.
his corner did the right thing and told him you need a knockout to win.
Yeah, and I'm sure probably Ivins recognizes that. As much as he probably don't want to think that right now, it is what it is. Oh, great right hand by Ivins.
Stop, break, step back, step back.
Smith
Box.
is obviously the taller, longer fighter, but he's got a pretty good chin. Ivins is landing some great punches.
Oh, Smith has been extremely impressive in this fight. He's taken some hard shots to the body and the head. And we were talking earlier about what looked like was going to be a cut opening up above the left eye of Rob Ivins. That has not happened. However, there is a cut on the right bridge of his nose. It's not going to run into the eye, but could certainly affect the judges' thinking as they score this final round.
Yeah, that'll probably play into a little bit of it. But as clean as Smith's punches look right now, I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen.
Smith's best combination has been the double jab right hand, and he seems to catch Ivan with that right hand every time.
Yeah, and
right
what he's
as he's
doing
coming
too,
in.
and you got to give credit to Smith too. You mentioned the double jab with the right hand. What he's also doing, because Ivins is pressuring him and coming inside, is he's throwing that double jab and then throwing the right hook to the body, which is really effective.
And then tying him up when he gets in close.
Right.
Again, another right hand. And these
They're
two
throwing some
trade
heavy
punches.
leather right now. Credit to both fighters. This is a great fight.
This is the sixth and final round of this Cruiserweight title fight. Both these guys clearly won it. The question is, can Rob Ivins, who I think needs a knockout, pull it off in the time we have remaining in this fight?
Well, he's back to what he was doing the first couple of rounds. He's stalking and walking Smith down. But what Smith is doing, in my opinion, really good is he's not going straight back. He's circling, and I think that's the difference in this fight.
And this is the end of the sixth round. The Cruiserweight title on the line. We will have the judges' decision and an interview with the winner coming up. This is the Pink Parrot Rumble at Remington. Cruiserweight title fight has gone all 6 rounds. Let's get the decision from Gerald Whalen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event of the evening, proudly brought to you by Pink Parrot, goes to the scorecards. Judge Sarah Atwood scores it 57-57, draw. Judge Chris Ritter and Jason Greenwald score the bout 58-56, for your winner by majority decision and new Oklahoma Cruiserweight champion out of the blue corner, Braden H.P. Smith.
The official decision, a majority decision for Braden Smith, and the crowd is none too happy as Rob Ivins has a big contingency of fans here at Remington Park in Oklahoma City. Braden Smith, the new Cruiserweight champion of Oklahoma. This is the Pink Parrot Rumble at Remington. We'll have final thoughts on tonight's bouts coming up. Welcome back to the Pink Parrot Rumble at Remington, brought to you by Sailor Jerry, Darren Humphrey. Final thoughts on our main event this evening.
Well, my final thought would be what a great fight that was. Really impressed with Ivins being the older fighter. You know, he pretty much brought the fight to Smith the whole time. But in Smith's defense of being the younger fighter, he really fought like the older fighter, in my opinion. He kept his jab going, stayed on the outside. He didn't let Ivins in too much, you know. Obviously, Ivins landed some heavy punches, but to Smith's credit, you know, he weathered the storm and did what he had to do to get the win.
Those punches heavy enough for one of the judges to score a draw. Our new Cruiserweight champion, Braden Smith, with a win over Rob Ivins with a majority decision to take the Oklahoma Cruiserweight title. On behalf of the champ, Darren Humphrey, I'm Andrew Spino. Thank you for another great night of HD boxing. We'll see you again next time inside the ring.